Hi there. I'm in my office, and if you've been in my office at the church, you've seen I got this bulletin board that's full of colorful different quotes that I've put on there. And in fact, on the other side of the room, I've started a second bulletin board. I've got enough that I could print off to fill it up, but I like it because you see these things on social media and you think, oh, this is a really cool thing. I'd like to remember that. And so I put those up there. And a lot of times I sit there when I'm thinking about things and I'll read some of them and they'll inspire me. And so I thought what I'd do today is take one of these that I really, really like. I'm stepping up here where I can get to it really good. Okay, it's right there behind me there. It says what? It's a Chinese proverb. And I saw this at a doctor's office, and so I really liked it, and I kept it. It says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Let's think about that a minute here. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Of course, that is the best time because that would be when you could enjoy it now. If you had a 20-year-old tree, you could enjoy the shade. You could enjoy the fruit that comes from it. You could enjoy looking at the beautiful leaves as they come out in the spring and as they fall down in the autumn time. But you know what? If you didn't have the tree planted then why not start now? Because maybe in 20 years you'll get to enjoy it, or somebody else will get to enjoy it. I think one of my biggest problems I have in life, and this is probably one of my biggest my biggest downfalls, is that I really struggle with regret. I really struggle with thinking, if I had only done this back then, if I'd have done this differently, if I would have made that choice, if I'd have made that decision. I constantly second guess myself when I do things. Even, I make a decision yesterday, and then the next day I'm like, well, I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not. And decisions I make today, I make decisions pretty easily, but then I second guess them afterwards, and I struggle with them sometimes. And so, we may have made decisions in our past that if we could go back and change them, we definitely would. I know that I'm always thinking, if I had only known then what I know now, if hindsight was 2020, if I'd go back and do things all over again. But yesterday's gone and the day before is gone, and I have to live with now and trust God to help me make good choices for right now. And at your stage of life as young people, you're making decisions now that's going to make a big effect on your future. And so it really pays to make good decisions now. I know there's this whole butterfly effect thing. If you take one step to the right or one step to the left, it's going to change everything. And I don't know how much that's true because the Lord directs our steps and he gets us where we're going. But I do know that when we make decisions, there are going to be natural consequences, both positive and or negative ones. And so when we make decisions, we face what comes from those things, either the good or the bad. And so maybe right now is a time to plant a tree. Maybe it's time to plant a tree, not literally go out and dig a hole in your yard and plant a tree, although that's not a bad thing to do either. We first moved into our house. I had always said I wanted to have a weeping willow and in my yard. Well, of course, we didn't have any weeping willows in our yard, so we planted one. And it's growing, and every year we see it growing bigger, and it brings a lot of joy to my life. So planting a tree could be what you need to do, but what are some trees that you want to plant that in 20 years from now, you're going to be glad you did? And those trees might be decisions that you make about relationships, about your relationship with God, about your habits that you are forming now. These are the planting the trees that's going to make a difference 20 years down the road. And you know what? If we flub up and make mistakes and we don't always do the right thing, or we wish we'd done the right thing, start over. And maybe even now you're thinking, well, I've kind of blown the last year of my life, or I've blown the last couple of years of my life, or I've just still never gotten serious about some things that I need to. Start today. Start today. Let now be the time that makes a difference, so that when you look back in 20 years, you've got something to show for it. So plant a tree, make a habit, make a decision, do something that you're going to appreciate it for down in the future. That's my words for you today. Trust God, ask him what you want him to do.